Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Jessica and today is my Pan Those Eyeshadows update. Better late than never. Today is June 11th that I'm filming this, and the start of June has been a whirlwind. I just celebrated my birthday and I spent some time down in Southern California with some of my closest friends and family, and now I am back and officially on summer vacation at home, and I am finally getting the chance to sit down and film this video for all of you. I'm really excited to film this update because I'm rolling out some eyeshadows today. I've just some pans to share with you, so definitely stay tuned. And I can't wait to see what new colors come into my palette today. I have some fun eyeshadow looks to share with you, and I'm just overall feeling very elated and positive, and a lot of exciting things happening in my life right now. So the vibes are good and I'm excited to sit down and film and share with you these fun updates. So let's go ahead and get into this video. But before we do, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up because you already like it. You know you're gonna like it. And leave a comment at any point. Say hello, tell me what you think of my looks, and anything else you want to say to me. And I always want to pay homage to the creator of this project, Alexi, here on YouTube. Thank you so much for creating this fun project for all of us and for kickstarting my panning journey here on YouTube. Let's get right on into the video. I need a sip of water first. Birthday gift, my first ever Stanley water cup. I'm a Stanley bitch now. Look at me, look at me. I do like it. Yeah. That is a nice gift, very, very nice gift. A dear, dear friend gave it to me. Thank you to her. I have my little stack of eyeshadow palettes here. Look at all my little quads that I've been working on in this project, and this big old stinker from Colourpop. A lot of Colourpop going on in this project right now. So I'll start with the eyeshadow that's been in this project the longest. It is from this quad from Colourpop. This is the Hello Kitty Pineapple Cake quad, and it's a yellow quad. And I've been working on the matte yellow in there called To the Core. It's the lighter tone of the matte yellow shades. So here's what this shade was looking like when I first rolled it in. It was basically brand new and it had that beautiful pineapple imprint on it. The first month I only used it 6 times and it was looking like this. I reached for it an additional 5 times in the second month, only 5 times, pretty sad, making for 11 uses total, and it was looking like this. And this is now the 3rd month I've been working on this eyeshadow. I did amp up the uses this month. I used it 12 times, making for 23 uses total, and here's what it's looking like today. And as you can see, we are getting quite a nice dip going on in there, but no pan in sight yet. And I still have not hit that 30 use goal. So for me, I have a personal goal of course, trying to hit pan. But if I use the shade at least 30 times and over 3 months of use, and I still don't hit pan, then I will allow myself to roll a shade out without hitting pan on it. So this one still has 7 more uses to go for me to reach my 30 use goal. It has been in the project for 3 months. So this is a rare occasion when I will have an eyeshadow in this project for 4 months. That almost never happens. But I'm okay with keeping it around. It is a nice summery palette to have around. It's so cute with Hello Kitty in her little pink polka dot bikini, and I just love playing with yellows. I've mostly been using this month to warm up my crease shade and just to give it more of a yellow hue, mixing it in with neutrals that way, and it's been a really easy way to get uses on it. But I've also let it sing in a few yellow looks as well, and that's also been fun to experiment with. So 7 uses would get me to my goal, but it wouldn't be out of the question that I continue to use that until I hit the goal of pan, because that just feels so good. So that one is staying in for a 4th month, but she cute, so we okay with it. Oh, and I forgot to swatch. Oh my gosh, Jessica. So there is To the Core right there. And as you can see, it's just a lemony yellow matte shade. Not super pigmented, but pigmented enough to get the look that you want for a yellow typically. This next shade is also from a Colourpop quad. One of these with this amazing packaging that we just all love so much, right, friends? This is the quad Sorbet, and I've been working on this top shimmer. It is the shade Glazy. It's a beautiful pinky champagne color. Here it is in the swatch, and I do have this all over my lid today, mixed in with some blues and neutrals, so it's quite versatile, really easy to wear. I even considered wearing this as a face highlight, but never got around to it, but I think it would work really well for that. Oh my gosh, it's happening right now. This palette is just crumbling. Story time with this palette is coming up. First, I'm going to show you what this shade was looking like when I first brought it in. So here's what Glazy was looking like. I used it 12 times during the first month. Here's what it was looking like after those 12 uses. It did have a nice dip going on it. I reached for it 12 additional times in the past month, making for 24 uses total. And here's what it's looking like today. And as you can see, I do now have a tiny little pan going on there. I hit pan on this shadow just today with this look. So I really went in on my inner corner and the lower part of my lash line, as well as all over the lid to get a good amount of product used. I was pretty committed to hitting pan on it. I knew it was close and thankfully I got there. So I have a pan to share with you today. That is so exciting. And a pan to add to my pan percentage, and a new shadow will be rolling into this project at the end of the video. So that is a very exciting update. But story time, oh my gosh, on this crazy eyeshadow palette. We talked about it, right? How this packaging is just very low quality. It just crumbles apart when you give it the slightest bump. And the shadows in here, we're also finding are quite crumbly and fragile. So I will update you on this one below in just a moment, but this shadow broke since my last update. I had to repress it and then repan it. Basically, that depression that I had from last update was basically gone. So I was able to pan on it in those 12 uses with basically no progress to start with, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm talking in circles. And then this one just broke just now as I was talking about it. And this one has also been crumbling apart as I've been using it in this project. So this palette is not long for this world. It is not long for my collection. I think what I'm going to do is continue to work on that second shade and then reevaluate what I want to do with this palette once I get to that point. It might be leaving my collection. I might be repurposing those shimmers in some way. I think they might be magnetic, but just the way these masks are falling apart on me, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. So this shade is rolling out, but this palette for now is staying in this project, and I'll update you on it in just a moment because I'm going in order here, okay? I need order in this universe, so we will get to it. And the third quad that's been in this project is this one from L'Oreal. This is the Avant Garde Azure palette, their blue palette. And I have been working on this first shimmery blue shade in there. It's just shade number 1 is what I call it. Here's a swatch of that blue. It's really quite sheer, but it can be built up if you really put the effort in. But overall, this has been a really nice palette in my collection. As far as blues go, I don't have a ton of blues in my palettes, or I didn't when I purchased this, and it's been a great functional blue quad that I can reach for to get the blue looks that I want to achieve. So here's what this shade was looking like when I had first rolled it in. During the first month, I used it 7 times and it was looking like this. These have quite shallow pans, so that small depression gave me a lot of hope. I reached for it 3 additional times in the past month, making for 10 uses total, and here's what it's looking like today. And I hope you'll see that little tiny baby pan on there. This is another shade that I had rolled into this project not too long ago, I think just a few months ago, and now I have 2 pans in this quad. And this is another case where I think I might be ready to say goodbye to this one. It's just getting to be quite old. I have a lot of other blue shades in my collection now that can do the job, and they just have more pow, more bang, more, you know, chutzpah. Thinking of lots of synonyms here, but I just don't think I need this anymore. The packaging's broken. The quality is just not as good as some of the other formulas that I have, and it just doesn't really need to be around anymore. So what I'll probably do is hang on to this just through the end of the year and declutter it before my end of the year inventory, do like an end of the year declutter, and maybe reach for it a couple times here or there before then, but if not, you know, that's okay too. I got a lot of good use on it this year. I've hit 2 pans on it. I've had it for like 7 years, I want to say 6 or 7 years. And, you know, I think it's time. It's okay to say goodbye. But for now, I'm just going to stick it back in my eyeshadow drawer for a little while longer and move this one out of my inventory come 2024. So that is another pan for you to this update. And again, that means I get to roll in another new shade. I can't wait to see what it is. Well, if you thought we were getting away from blues, you were wrong, because don't forget I have that other blue shade I'm working on. It is from my Colourpop She's a Rainbow palette, and it is the deep cobalt blue matte shade. Here's the swatch of that blue shade for you. The shade is called Fine China, and as you can see, it is so blue. It's like neon blue, and I do have this on my eye look today. It is what is deepening up my outer corner, and I really love this neutrally way that I've been finding I can wear these blue shades. I don't have to have like a full-on blue look in order to get uses on this cobalt shade, and I'm hopeful that that will help me to amp up my uses moving forward, because I don't have a ton of progress to share on this one. So here's what the shadow was looking like when I first brought it in. I used it 5 times during the first month, and it was looking like this. I did have a small little dip going because I am using finer, more detailed brushes with it. During the past month, I reached for it an additional 6 times, making for 11 uses total, and here's what it's looking like today. And hopefully you can see that the dip has gotten a little bit bigger with those 6 uses. I'm really not sure, but because I'm using my panning brush, basically I have this crown brush. It's really dirty. I'm not going to show it to you. It's a rougher, more detailed brush, and it picks up a great amount of product and applies it so precisely. It's one of my favorite brushes I have, and I use that today to lay down the blue before I blended it out with more neutral colors. And I think it's really pretty. I did put like a shimmery blue on top of that to just give some color to the outer corners of the eyelid. Yeah, and it's for my new Odin's Eye palette. I did splurge. I bought a new palette, but I really have been wanting to try Odin's Eye, and the Jewels and Gem palette just called to me, so I bought it, and a shade from that is what's on the outer part of my corner there, if you're wondering. Back to Fine China. I have 11 uses total on this. I'm definitely not going to get 19 more uses in the next month unless I use this as like a daily eyeliner, which I don't see myself doing, but I'm excited to play with it more, experiment with it. Because I'm using a finer, more detailed brush with it, maybe I can hit pan without reaching that 30 use goal. We shall see. I will update you on it next month. And last but not least, well, maybe it is least, we are back to this Colourpop quad. I rolled this in just last month. Again, I rolled in the shade just below Glazy, that more lighter tone matte. That is the shade Extra Syrup. So here's what Extra Syrup was looking like last month when I first rolled it in. And this one has also been through a journey. I used it 12 times during the past month, and here's what it's looking like today. And I think most of the difference that you're going to see is the trauma that this palette has been through. The edges here have just started to crumble bit by bit. I've tried to press them back in. The discoloration may be from the alcohol I used to try and repress it and never like fully dried or fully went back to the original pigment, at least in those areas. I don't know if you can even tell in the video, but you can take my word for it. And the little amount of depression you can see from the actual spot that I've been using it is quite small and not super noticeable. And I'm not expecting to hit pan on this one in 30 uses. These mattes are pretty hard pressed. This one will probably fall apart before I hit 30 uses. I would not be surprised. And as this palette just starts to literally disintegrate in my hands, I am falling less and less in love with it, and it's actually making me a little bit angry. So we're going to move on. This one is going to stay with me. I'm going to try and hit 30 uses on it. I'll update you with my decision next month. But on the bright side, it is a really pretty shade. It's beautiful in the crease, this mauve-y, brownish kind of color. I love these like rosy toned crease colors. And I have this in my crease today. And I do enjoy it. I really do. I just have other shades like this in my collection, and I don't need to really hold on to this product that's just falling apart. Unfortunately, we shall see. Again, it might hang around until the end of the year and then I'll get rid of it. I'm loving that this project is forcing me to reach for things in my collection that I just didn't know if I liked, or just if I still liked them, if they're products that I still need or still have a purpose in my collection. And as much as I loved this palette when I bought it on an impulse, now that I've gotten to know it, I can see that I really don't need this in my collection. It's not unique. And as good as the quality is for the price, I have other things in my collection that will fulfill it. So that is another perk of doing it, is just to help you move things out if they need to be moved out, you know? So there was my color story for the month of May, and I'm rolling out these 2 shades here, and these bottom 3 are staying in. Nice bright shades to bring in the summer season with, and I am excited to see what else comes into this project. But first, let's talk about pan percentage. So I have 466 shades of eyeshadows in my collection, and that includes both my eyeshadow palettes and my individual potted singles, as well as singles that are in my Z palette. Last month, I had pan on 80 of those eyeshadows, and my pan percentage was just about 17.17%. Now, my arbitrary goal for 2023 is to reach 20% in my pan percentage, and I'm getting so close to that goal. During the past month, I actually hit 4 new pans. I hit 1 in my Pan That palette, which is my Lorac Mega Pro 2. I'll link the Pan the Palette series right here if you haven't seen it. I also hit pan in a Super Shock Shadow from Colourpop in the shade Birthday Cake. That was part of my Deck of Panning series. And then I also hit these 2 pans in this project, my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, which is where I keep track of my eyeshadow pan percentages. So I now have pan on 84 of the 466 eyeshadow shades in my collection, bringing my pan percentage to 18.03%, or just about 18%. So I am 2 percentage points away from my goal of 20%. I'm really hopeful that I'm going to surpass that goal this year. I think that equates to about 8 new pans in my eyeshadow collection, and I'm definitely going to hit that with just my Pan That palette series alone. So I'm excited to see how far I can get this year. If I could get to 25%, that would feel so amazing, and then it'll just be really exciting to kind of reevaluate my collection, trim some things here and there, and start fresh with a new pan percentage in 2024. Now it's one of my favorite times of the video. I'm going to tell you about some of the eyeshadow looks I created using these shades during the month of May. This first look is just a very natural look that I created quite often using both Extra Syrup and Glazy. I kept forgetting to take a picture of this eyeshadow look because it was such a go-to, easy, nothing look that I just didn't occur to me to take pictures of it, but I'm glad I finally did. So you could just see how I've been wearing these shades. It's nothing revolutionary, but there you have it. This is photo evidence that I've been wearing this shade, and it's so sparkly all over the lid. This had really nice lighting too, so you really can appreciate the sparkle in Glazy. This next look is using Fine China in the outer crease to create this purple blue winged look. I wore this to a winery for a friend's birthday, and I wore it with a purple dress, so it looked really pretty and fun and colorful. And this is just another example of how I was able to use Fine China in a look that didn't scream blue. It was more of like a purpley look once it was all said and done. Here's another example of me wearing Glazy and Extra Syrup. Extra Syrup is all over the crease and Glazy is all over the lid. I think I also used Dominate for my Pan Those palettes in the outer part of my lid space here. So it just has a little bit more of a rosier effect, but I thought this was a really pretty look and just like feminine and soft, and I love looks like that every now and then. This was one of my favorite looks I created during this past month. I wore this in a video and I got a lot of compliments on it, so thank you everybody for showing me some love there. This look has that pale blue shade from the L'Oreal Quad in the inner crease. I really put it in there heavily, and then I also topped that with a silvery shade from my Project Level Up Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. And then I definitely have Fine China in here as well to deepen up that outer corner. I have Gunmetal from my Lorac Mega Pro 2 palette on that outer part of the lid. And I think I probably even used some of Extra Syrup to buff out that outer corner with Fine China. Again, mixing it with those neutrals. That's what I did today. I mixed Fine China and Extra Syrup in the crease. And I love the mix of the blue and the mauve together. I think it has a really, really pretty effect that I didn't quite expect, and I'm really quite enjoying. Love that look. That was probably my favorite from the month. Oh, save for some of these. Here we go. I went to Bottle Rock during the month of May, which is a music festival in Napa, and it was really, really fun. The first day I went with one of my best friends, and I wore this makeup look. I let that yellow shine. I have the yellow shade to the core, very heavily applied in the crease, layered up with other yellows, and then topped with a neon yellow eyeliner and some yellow glitter, of course, because it's a music festival. And I wore that with a bright pink dress. So it was really, really fun, colorful look for a festival. And then I also used To The Core in this look. Okay, this is my favorite look I created this month, and maybe one of my favorites I've created ever. This was for my second day of Bottle Rock when I went with my husband, and I used To The Core to create a big yellow circle in the outer part of my eye, and then I layered over that yellow circle with neon paints, but I just wanted to give like that yellow ethereal glow all around the paint before I applied that. So I also used the yellow a little bit on the cheeks, and then I also used the yellow in the inner part of my crease as well. And I just thought this was so fun and festival-y. I wore it with like some fringe and some denim, and you know, I saw Sheryl Crow. I was just like really vibing in Napa on festival season, as you can see from these photos, because I'm going to include quite a few, because I definitely had my husband do a photo shoot for me, and then I did my own photo shoot because life, you know, because YOLO. And the last look I want to share with you is this one with the pale blue all in the inner corner. I did a very neutral eye. I probably have Glazy on the lid at some point, and then I really went in with this shimmery pale blue to make my inner corner sparkle and pop, and it was a fun and different experimental look while I was just hanging around at home. So I hope you enjoyed those eyeshadow looks. Let me know which one was your favorite in the comments. And without further ado, it is the best time of the video. I'm going to roll in 2 new eyeshadow shades using my random generator that I like to use. I use the Tiny Decisions app. It is this wheel here that has all of my eyeshadow palettes and singles and potted singles in each of these wedges. And then once I select a palette, I will then randomly generate a number of eyeshadow from that palette. So I'm going to do this one at a time. you're going to see the name of the palette right up here where those questions are. Question marks, I guess you would call them. Here we go. Okay, yay. Oh my gosh, the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. I love that palette and it needs more love in my collection. So I'm gonna grab that. It already has one pan in it. It's been in this project before. I'm excited to work on it again. And I gotta do it. Here's the Mercury Retrograde palette. And I forgot, I've actually worked on this palette twice on 2 different shades. I have worked on it twice, but not in this project. So here's what this palette is looking like today. So you can see I have a pan up here in Cosmic. This one was in Pan Those Eyeshadows. And this one here, Ultraviolet, was in, I think, a Deck of Panning project for a prompt in there. I think my boo chose that one for me. So that means of these 18 shades, I have 16 eligible to roll into this project. And I am very excited. The possibilities are quite enticing. There are some really fun shades in here. I can't wait to see what I get to play with. I'm just happy to have this one out. Look at it. It's such a goodie. I love the Huda Beauty formula. Okay, so I'm putting in the numbers 1 through 16 since there are 16 eligible shades, and I'll just skip over the shades that already have pan in them. Okay, I have the numbers 1 through 16 in there, and let's see what comes up today. I have the sound turned off just so you know. Okay, number 14. Oh, goodness.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Karma. It's like a kind of corally, peachy mid-tone shade, and it's really pretty. I definitely was hoping for a shimmer, but I also don't want to cheat. So I think I'm just going to go with it. It is quite a pinky shade. It'll look really pretty with extra syrup, and I think it'll also pair well with other shades from my Pan That palette. So even though it's similar as far as like tones and just the range of color that it is, it's a fun pop of pink in the summertime. So I'm gonna go with it. We're gonna work on the shade Karma and try and get pan on it. I don't think that's gonna happen with this formula. It's quite firmly pressed and pigmented, but I'm excited to get a nice dip on here and just have this palette out and reach for it. So that is the first shade rolling in. What an exciting one. Okay, that does mean I have 4 mattes in this project right now, which is a little scary. So hopefully this next shade is a shimmer. Let's get back to my random generator and see what comes up next. I'm turning the sound back on because the sound is satisfying. You're welcome. Oh, it's still not on. Well, what are you gonna do? Okay, I can't even read that. Alamar, Reina del Caribe. Thank goodness, that's an oldie. And there are some shimmers in there. And I better get one of them. So let me grab that palette. Oh my gosh, this palette has been around for a while. This was one of the BoxyCharm palettes that I got when I got BoxyCharm, which was a long, long time ago. And it's the only one that I've kept around from BoxyCharm because it is the only one that was of decent enough quality as far as I'm concerned, or the one that I really liked enough to keep around. So this one does already have 1 pan in it. Here's what it's looking like today. I have pan in this top shade La Costa. Look how deep these pans are. I'm a little nervous about that. I'm really hoping I get this shade. This one would be really hard. That one would be really hard. And then 4 mattes. I'm nervous. Hopefully the gods are kind to me. Having 5 mattes in this project would feel kind of crazy. But I have so many shimmers in other projects that maybe it would be a nice little break. All right, since I have pan on the first shade, I'm just gonna put in the numbers 2 through 8. Then I don't have to think about it. I love when that happens. 2 through 8. It's up there. Let's see. Oh my gosh! I fished my wish. Number 2, that's the one I wanted. It's my favorite shade in the palette, and it's different from anything else that I'm working on. So it is this shade here. Number 2 is El Malacon. I think that's how you say it, El Malacon. I don't even know what that means. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous green, goldy brown shimmer. Goldy green shimmer, not goldy brown, goldy green. There it is in the swatch. Oh my gosh, it's so shimmery. I love this shade. I am so excited to play with this. I needed a shimmer. Thank you, Panning Gods, for delivering and giving me a little bit of a break here because I'm a little nervous with all these mattes in this project, and they're very firmly pressed pigmented mattes. got my work cut out for me. So those are my 2 new shades. They're great ones. I think they'll play really nice together. Let me get the rest of my palette swatched out for you. So there is my new color palette for the month of June. It's gorgeous. I'm so excited. Thank goodness this shimmer came in. I can't wait to play with her. She's gonna love playing with Fine China and To the Core. And I could also see this working with the more mauve shade and this corally pink. These are going to be fun together. These 2 could probably work together too, and these 2 could work together as well. I'm going to have a lot of fun experimenting. And again, here's that old palette from last month compared to my new palette. Yay! So there you have it. That is my update this month. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm excited to work on these new shades and just get some more life into this project. I'm not very hopeful about having a pan for you next update. Maybe one in Fine China. If I really push, maybe one into the core. But we will see what I can do, what damage can be done. Definitely stay tuned onto my channel so that you don't miss out on my next update because they're always interesting and fun. Thank you just so much for being here. I really appreciate you clicking on this video and spending your time with me wherever you are in the world and whatever you're doing with your day. I hope you're doing really well wherever you are, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Till then, bye.